All right, so our next step is we're going to make a Voronoi screen out of a plane. So let's create a plane facing the positive Z direction. And let's set up our display so we can properly see the mesh. Make sure it's showing wireframes, not isoparms. All right, and let's just leave it at its default 20 by 20 for now. And let's lay on some modifiers. I'm going to add a displacer, and I'm just holding down Shift to hold it on there. And let's put a noise in there, and now we can see it's popping out a little bit. And I'm going to just make that noise a little bit larger. All right, and now let's put another modifier on here and polygon reduction. And once again, I'm holding down Shift. So it's, oops, see, actually we want it to be part of the plane, but underneath. All right, now we can see what we're getting here. And now we can play around with both the scale of our texture and the amount of polygon reduction. So I think something right about there is going to look nice. So we get a little bit at the edge, and then we can go in here, kind of play around a little bit. That's looking nice. And then if we want it a little bit denser, of course, we could see, maybe bring this to 50. See what that gives us. A little bit busy. We can go into our polygon reduction, crank it up a little bit, and I think that's looking nice. I think something like that is going to be just what we're looking for. All right, so now we're going to make a copy of this. Well, before we do, see, this is sticking out. I'm going to turn this displacer almost to the lowest amount it will actually do anything. So we've got to 3 inches. Let's try it like 0.1 inch. Kind of wrecking our effect a little bit. Let's try maybe 0.5. How about maybe 1 inch? Oops. Yeah, I think that's looking nice. All right. Now I'm going to add an additional modifier on here. Let's take a smoothing modifier and place it at the bottom of the stack there. Whoops, make sure it's actually in the stack there. And this will kind of even our distribution a little bit. Let's make sure it's on smooth. All right, let's check initialize. There we go. And see just the difference. Just a little bit to kind of make it a little bit more regular, and also makes this part a little bit flatter. All right, so now we'll go and do current state to object, and let's hide this one now. And this is what we're going to be working with. Let's go into edge mode, and let's select them all. Oops, select the new one that we made. Select them all, and we want to deselect our outer edge. Oh, actually, we're not quite ready for that step yet. Let's add a subdivision surface. Make this a child of it, and just have 1 and 1. That's what we need. All right, and make sure we've still got our selection here. And actually, before we go on to our next step, let's deselect this outer edge. So I'm going to go outline selection, and then I'm holding down control. And now, there we go. That's looking right. Okay, now let's go here and say current state to object, and make this one not visible. Now, you see, even though, like if we just go into here, we've got kind of a weird looking mesh here. You see we've got these kind of hexagons here that are crossed here. But our original mesh, see, like if I go here, is still selected here, including not having this outer edge. So this is what we want. So now I'm just going to go dissolve. And now this leaves us with this cool bubbly Voronoi mesh. So let's Control A, select all, and then once again we want to deselect this outer edge. So let's find outline selection and then Control and make sure we have that deselected. Sometimes it's hard to get. There we go. All right. And don't worry about these blue lines. Those are just the n-gons. They're not going to adversely affect the process. All right, so now let's go to bevel and bring it out just a little bit, just like that. Is looking nice. We can see we've got some crazy ones at the edge. Let's see what's going on with that. Well, we'll probably have to just delete those after a while. Okay, let's make sure that we're in fixed distance with no subdivisions. Okay, let's give it another shot. And just something like that is looking good. Okay, and then we're going to go into point mode and we're going to get rid of this crazy stuff here. Let's just bring it. Oh, geez, these are gigantic. Well, we might have to do something tricky to get this. Let's see. Let's go into, I'm going to select our original plane, hit S, and that'll take us back to where we were, and we'll hide that again. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the ones we're going to use, and then we'll invert, and then delete the ones we don't want. I'm going to have tolerant selection, and I'm going to leave that unchecked. We might need to get rid of a couple more of them, just so this, oops, make sure we have the one that we're actually using. Select, invert. I'm going to just hit my delete key, and then let's just make sure, hit an S, and there we go. We got to make sure that we don't have any that are flying out of our view. Now we've got to clean up that edge a little bit. Or actually, before we get to that, we want to go into polygon mode, and you notice what we created is highlighted. So let's invert our selection. And oh, never mind. What we wanted is already selected. So just hit delete, and there we go. We've got our mesh. It takes a little bit of cleaning up, but before we get to that, I'm going to create an edge for this. Like you can see along here, I'm going to have to do a little bit, little TLC to clean it up, and I'll show you how that's done. But you know, whenever you want to have like sort of big areas going into little areas, you're always going to have it sort of crumpling up a little bit. So first of all, let's make a copy of our previous plane, the original one that had without all this stuff on it. So here I'll just make a copy and then delete the stuff, make it visible, and I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. Let's try maybe 160. Same here. And let's see, it's still a little bit smaller than I'd like. I want to make sure we've got, yeah. So that will be able to attach to there. And it looks like we might need more subdivisions too. So I'll just make it the same. And let's try maybe 80. And that's looking right. And then I think it could come in a little bit too. Oh, what do we got? 2. All right, we're cooking with gas now. Now let's hit C to just turn that into mesh, and use ring select. Or actually, let's try loop select, see what we get done with that. Yeah, let's try ring select. And I'm just going to select our 4 boundaries. Or actually, here, let's try this. I'm going to select all, and then shrink selection. And then we will delete that. Now, we want to combine these two. But let's see, is that, I think that's getting a little close. I'm going to have that kind of coming out just a little bit. So I'm selecting all and just scaling it out just a little bit, just so we can see the space there. All right, and now let's combine these two. Connect objects and delete. And at this point, I am going to call this grill, or let's see, screen. All right, and now we're going to get to welding them together. And one thing you want to make sure, here I'm selecting all of them, is that your normals are, when you're doing that combine objects and delete, afterwards make sure that your normals are aligned properly. Like here in my options, I have polygon normals selected, and that's what the little lines are. And it's showing me that it's already done, so I don't need to do any adjustment. All right, so now what we want to do is start welding our original Voronoi screen to our frame here. So let's use our Polygon pen, and let's get into edge mode. And actually, let's deselect everything. And I'm using my space bar to jump back between tools. All right, and boom. It's as easy as that. But before we start putting the rest of these on, let's start building up our object a little bit. So I'm going to go up into Simulate, Cloth Surface, and let's bring this all the way down and make our screen a child of Cloth Surface. And by default, it adds a subdivision. Let's get rid of that. And let's make our thickness, let's see, maybe 2 is good in this case. And then select the original screen. Now, let's see, let's go into a different view here. Let's go here. And now, see, if we go in and start moving things around, even though we're just moving that single polygon, we are also, here, let me turn off Z second. See? So it makes it very easy to adjust the structure on this, you know, but just make sure you're keeping it flat, because at this point we don't want to add any Z depth to it. And let's just kind of go through here and start welding this guy. And by default it says auto weld, so it can really crank through it pretty quickly. And now watch what's happening here. See, these are just attaching right nicely. And now, to further see what our final product is going to look like, let's bring out a subdivision surface and make the cloth surface a child of that. And now, see what's going on here? Let's select our screen object. Let's see. Just bring that, bang, and then whoom, melts right to it. See, let's go back into our front view. It's a little easier to see. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, see, some of these have some weird pieces. I'm gonna just delete that. Let's see, there we go. And then, yeah, that one I think I'm gonna just get rid of that extra triangle there. Sometimes the Polygon pen has so many different applications it can do at the same time. You gotta kind of get out of the tool, or it can kind of get away from you. So sometimes I just I'm hitting the space bar to go in between the poly pen and just the selection tool. And you see how even the big edges sort of resize when they're welding together. So it but I wanted to make the divisions of these polygons about the thickness of my, my grill here. And there we got a triangle. I think I'm going to make that a little less complicated. There we go. Try to just keep the triangles where, where three sections are meeting up. Boop. And at this point, I only have the subdivision set to 2. But for printing, you can set it up a little bit higher, so you're getting a little less faceting in your surface. But if you make it too high, when you're working, you're going to have a hard time with your screen updating. And I think this is kind of clear enough to see the effect you're getting. Oops, missed that one. Yeah, make sure you're going edge to edge. Sometimes this tool can just weld just a point, and then you got a floating point. And especially if you're doing something for printing, your mesh has to be watertight, so you got to make sure there's no weird holes sticking out. If it's just for graphics or something, it doesn't really matter. But sometimes it's just a good modeling practice. Oops, there I got something weird. I must have a triangle somewhere. There we go. Boom, gets right to it. Ooh. And remember, through all this, even though it's got this stack going on, you've still got your original mesh. So whatever kind of deformers you want to put on it, like a bend deformer or a spline wrap or something like that, you still can. Then you've still got your thickness and your subdivisions to adjust on the fly. So this can be a nice flexible way to work. Oops, I missed it. See, even at this point, you have to get sort of close to get into polygon mode. See, I can very much still adjust any of these things. Oops. I only wish sculpture in real life were this easy. Even a glue gun or tape or something, you gotta sort of wrestle with it and struggle with it and pick it off the tape roller. But here, you just grab it and bang, and it's doing it. And let's see how much more we have. All right, we got about 2/3 of the way. And if I can, I try not to have them weld too close together. Oh, here we got see, I'm just dragging the point to the point and it auto welds. Sometime if you're, let's see, now what do we got there? There we go. If you feel like your poly pen has too many options, you can go in and sort of uncheck a couple of these things. But I generally prefer it at its default setting. All right, tighten up. So this way, even if you were doing this to say to fit a particular size window or something like that, you've got your precision of your outer edge, and then you're just adapting, your kind of more organic Voronoi pattern to just conform to that. So even though here I used a square window, but this would work just as fine with the round window or an arabesque shape, or really anything, as long as it's not too complex, where you're sort of losing the concept of it being a frame. But you've got some flexibility with it. All right, now here our mesh is getting a little cramped. Let's hope we can keep track of what's going on here. What do we got here? Yeah, this is some crazy stuff. Let's turn some of these things off so we can see what we've got here. Some of this might even need to be deleted. Let's maybe work from this side, and we'll see how much of that is really still part of this. Okay, what do we got here? All right. There we go. See, that has just a corner. And then here, where I've just got this edge on this triangle, I'm going to actually add a polygon. So I'm selecting my edge and then holding down Control, and it's just going to grow another one. And let's see, do I have any extra stuff there? No, that looks fine. Okay, let's start welding this stuff. There we go. And there we go. Once we start welding it, all seems to be sorting itself out. And what do we got here? We got something. There we go. Once we start untangling all this stuff, a lot of it starts to make a little bit more sense. It's trying to get that one in the back. This one right here. Let's see if I can. There we go. That's looking like a jumbled mess. Let's see what we can do to unjumble it. See, now at this point, I'm just moving these. There we go. Now it's looking a little bit more behaved. We don't have any overlapping. We don't have any anything double. All right, let's check it out with just in garage shading at object mode. And we don't see any weird like wrinkles or puckers, which would indicate some sort of mesh error, like two polygons occupying the same space, or a hole, or some polygon that's like flipped or something. All right, this is looking nice. Oh, now here looks like we got some weirdness. I think this space is too small. So let's see what we can do to adjust this. Let's go back into this mode. I think we might need to maybe kill this polygon right here. Just going to delete. Oops. Go back into polypan, and I'm going to go Control Edge, and that kills that whole edge. And now we've got a little bit too much polygon, so let's weld some of these things together. And I'm holding down Control and clicking this. We'll dissolve that edge. And I'm auto welding some of these extra bits. And let's maybe move this in a little bit. And this is also looking a little bit cramped here. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes it's hard to reach stuff if other things are in the way. And we just try to make it so things aren't stepping on each other too much. See, I'm kind of, sometimes I'm in polygon mode. See, just depending on what lights up, you can select a point. I'll look there. See, I got that extra point that shouldn't even be there. Yeah, now that's looking nice. We have nice size holes. We don't have any weird wrinkles. And I need to check it out relatively close. See right there, looks like that's a little close. There we go. It's a little nicer. Yeah, careful with these close ones that they're not overlapping or causing any weird pinching. All right, looking good. All right, let's look at our object. And let's go back to our subdivision level. And all right, looking nice. Here, let's put a color on this, so and a little material, so it's easier to see. Oops. There we go. Yeah, looking good. So now you can see how we've got a nice, kind of bigger concentrations and then kind of smaller at the edges where structurally you would kind of need more support. So, even though this is mainly for its aesthetic value, it certainly has a structural value as well. All right, I hope this is useful, and hold on, and we'll do another project coming up.